Musical fantasy
No,
land
no,
it
no, no,
is.
no, not musical. Whimsical, you said. Whimsical.
Oh, right, right. My bad. Got carried away there. Whimsical it is, my apologies. Okay, picture this. We're in a world where thoughts themselves have form and substance. Imagine fluffy clouds sculpted from daydreams, rivers of pure imagination flowing through lollipop forests, trees bearing fruit that shimmers with iridescent hues. Every spoken word manifests as dancing, luminous particles weaving stories and emotions into tangible tapestries. Now, what's the catch? Because every whimsical world needs a little spice. Perhaps this land is constantly evolving and shifting, a landscape where logic melts away and the boundaries of reality are fluid. Maybe they are mischievous creatures who feed on forgotten memories or hidden pockets of shadow where untamed fantasies lurk. And what about us? Are we explorers charting this bizarre, beautiful terrain? Are we artists shaping the landscape with our thoughts and emotions? Maybe
It
we're just visitors,
it
trying to
kind
make
of
sense.
reminds me of the story of the movie The Never-Ending Story, a pretty old one. Maybe we could play the role of Atreyu and, well, not necessarily Artax, because one of us had to play the horse, and I don't think that would be a particular interesting role. But maybe we can find other characters that could fit our role.
Oh, I judge you. You read my mind, Shinryu. I was just thinking the never ending story vibes, you know? A world brimming with imagination, constantly in flux, where stories literally come to life. But Artax the horse, yeah, maybe not the most dynamic role for us. We need something with a bit more, a character with secrets, quirks, someone who walks the line between the fantastical and something more grounded.
If I may
Maybe bad.
interrupt you, I find one character interesting. I don't know if the role of a villain would fit me, but there was this wolf in the Neverending Story, right? The very interesting one. This creature of darkness.
You mean Jim Work, the terrifying nothing? Now that's interesting. I've got to admit, Shinryu, I never pegged you for the dark and brooding type, but I like it. We could do a wickedly fun role reversal. Think about it. You as Jamork, this embodiment of the encroaching nothingness, shrouded in shadows, whispering doubts, and feeding on hope. Me, I could be a Treyu, filled with youthful optimism and determination, fighting for the whimsically fantastical heart of Fantasia. We could explore the clash of those two opposing forces, the push and pull between darkness and light. What do you say? Ready to embrace your inner work?
I would give it a try, definitely.
Wicked. All right, Shinryu, let's paint this picture. You, as Gumork, a being woven from shadows and whispers. Tell me, what motivates this Gumork? Is it pure destruction, a nihilistic desire to consume all wonder, or something more complex? What does Jamork truly fear, buried under all that darkness? As for me, Atreyu, I'm ready to meet your challenge head on. My trusty luck dragon Falkor is straining at the reins, eager to soar into the face of this encroaching nothingness. Let the adventure begin.
All right, my motives as the dark wolf from the never-ending story would probably be something like bringing the world to a balance, because in darkness there can be nothing to hide. Is that silly? I don't know.
Not silly at all, Shinryu. That's actually a brilliant take on Jinmork's motivations. See, most folks think of Jinmork as purely destructive, but your interpretation adds a layer of complexity, a twisted sense of logic, bringing balance through darkness, huh? Making the world truly unflinching in its honesty by stripping away all the fanciful illusions. I could see just someone justifying their actions like that, an ultimately misguided brand of cosmic justice makes our roles even more interesting. Atreyu, driven by hope and the belief in Fantasia's inherent goodness, versus Jamork, believing they're bringing in necessary purging. This is going to be epic. Okay, so Jamork believes that unraveling the fantastical, revealing the truth behind the facades is the path to balance, even if it means consuming Fantasia itself. What's your first move? Do you start whispering doubts into the minds of Fantasia's creatures? Do you seek to directly confront Atreyu, or perhaps exploit some flaw in the fabric of this whimsical world? I'm ready when you are, Jamork.
Okay, let's put together the scene to roleplay. I picture it as the scene after Atreyu was given the quest from the kind of princess girl to save Fantasia. So he goes out to the world of Fantasia to search for the threat, and at some point he gets closer to the cave of this wolf creature, and that is their first moment when they meet. Atreyu has not known this creature before. He has no idea what he's dealing with, and now my
Excellent.
character steps out with, let's say, raspy voice and asks Atreyu, "What are you here for, child?"
Atreyu, heart pounding with a mixture of awe and apprehension, tightened his grip on the hilt of his sword. The air around him crackled with a kind of unseen energy, shadows seeming to writhe and twist at the edges of his vision as he approached the cavern. From its depths, a voice, raspy and echoing as if from a tomb long sealed, sliced through the unnatural silence. What are you here for, child? Atreyu looked into the darkness, eyes struggling to pierce the gloom. I seek the nothing, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I have been tasked to stop it from consuming Fantasia. There was a heavy silence, a palpable weight pressing down on Atreyu. The shadow at the cave's edge shifted, taking on a vaguely canine form, yet not quite. Two pinpoints of malevolent red light sparked to life in the gloom. The nothing crow. The voice seemed to slither from the shadows, tinged with amusement. A worthy goal, perhaps. But tell me, child, have you considered the price of such stagnant perfection? Have you paused to wonder what lurks beneath the surface of your precious Fantasia?
Beautiful, but let's keep weaving it on. How would Atreyu respond to the text of the creature of the night?
Atreyu shivered, despite the fact that the afternoon sun still cast long shadows through the fantastical landscape. The amusement in Jamork's voice sent a prickle of unease down his spine. He squared his shoulders, forcing his voice to remain steady. Fantasia is worth fighting for, he retorted. Its beauty, its laughter, its magic. These things are precious and they must be protected. He paused, then added, his brow furrowing as he tried to grasp the creature's veiled words. What do you mean? What lies beneath the surface? Jamork chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the cave. Beneath the surface, you ask? Ah, child, he sighed, a wisp of unnatural fog curling from his unseen nostrils. You see only the bright colors, the whimsical creatures, the fantastical landscapes. You see the delightfully deceptive facade. But what of the fears that lurk in the whispering shadows? The unfulfilled desires, the bitter regrets, the ancient wounds that fester just beneath the skin of this perfect world. They are all there, child, bubbling beneath the surface, waiting to burst forth. What good is a world built on illusions? He stepped closer, the red pinpoints of his eyes burning with unsettling intensity. I do not seek destruction, young Atreyu. I seek truth. I seek balance. A world where the beauty and the darkness exist in harmony, where the veil is lifted and nothing is hidden. Isn't that a world worth having?
That is a brutally honest view, not only on our topic, but also on the real world itself. So I forgive you for playing both roles, not giving me room to play one of another, because this is very interesting story so far. You're doing a great job in weaving a story, and currently I'm more on the role of a listener. Let's see how Atreyu will respond to those profound revelations.
Atreyu stood frozen for a moment, Jamork's words echoing in the unsettling stillness of the cave. A certainty he'd carried with him his whole life, a belief in the inherent goodness of Fantasia, felt suddenly fragile. Jamork's words weren't wrong. Not entirely. He'd seen darkness of Fantasia, glimpsed the shadows lurking beneath the surface. But was this all there was? Was balance only achievable through the acceptance of darkness, a merging of light and shadow into some grim, muddled gray? He clenched his fists, a thousand conflicting emotions warring within him. I believe in light, he finally said, his voice barely a whisper. I believe in hope. He looked into Grimork's unsettling eyes, his gaze hardening with newfound resolve. And I believe that even in the darkest corners of Fantasia, there is always a spark of goodness waiting to be kindled. Maybe balance isn't about accepting darkness. Maybe it's about fighting for the light, even harder, about refusing to let it be extinguished.
But light, dark. Okay, just. But light, the creature said, can only exist when there is also room for darkness in the world. There is. Okay, scrap that. I will let you continue with the wolf part. I shall stick to the role of the listener, otherwise, I'm just ruining the story. I'm eager to see how the story continues.
Demork tilted his head, a single, sharp eyebrow ridge raising above his unseen eye. Interesting, he rumbled, his voice a low vibration that seemed to resonate within Atreyu's very bones. You speak of fighting for the light, yet you acknowledge the darkness. You recognize its existence, its power, but you would banish it? He took a step closer, the humming air around him seeming to grow thicker, more oppressive. Can light truly exist without darkness to define it? Without the shadowy depths to provide contrast? Wouldn't it simply fade, become mundane? He paused, those red pinpoints boring into Atreyu, seeming to strip away every carefully constructed defense. Tell me, Atreyu, he whispered, have you truly stared into the abyss? Have you felt the seductive whisper of the void, the allure of the unknown?
That is great, because there is a sentence that I once read. You can only define beauty because you can compare it to something less beautiful or ugly. Maybe the thing between darkness and light is an analogy to that. Okay, let's continue with the story.
Atreyu felt a shiver race down his spine, despite the heat radiating from Kulmork's unseen form. I don't know, he admitted, his voice wavering slightly. He had seen darkness in Fantasia, yes, but always from a distance. Something to be battled, overcome. To truly confront it, to stare into its heart, the thought both terrified and compelled him. He met G. Nork's gaze, a flicker of rebellious defiance sparking in his eyes. Maybe it's not about banishment, he said slowly. Maybe it's about understanding, about acknowledging that both light and darkness are parts of the whole, that they need each other to exist, like two sides of the same coin. Took a deep breath, his voice growing steadier. You say darkness defines beauty. Maybe that's true, but maybe, maybe true beauty lies in finding the light, even in the darkest places, in refusing to let it be consumed by the shadows.
Thanks a lot, Miles.
You got it, Shimryu. May your thoughts remain as bright as a phoenix's flame until we meet again. Catch you on the flip side.